and 40 nights.
So hey guys, coming at you from the office today because I had some photocopying to do. Yeah, woo, yeah. But at the same time too, I had to check in on a few things up here, even though we are not open to the public yet, and even though we are still trying to stay on the level 5 shutdown, there are still a few things sometimes I got to poke my head in the door to check on. So in the meantime, I figured I'd just do my talk up here. Made sense. And with that in mind, I had a question come through Facebook last night, actually, and the question was very simple. We've talked about the origin of the word Advent before, but I don't know that we've talked about the origin of the word Lent before, which is fair. So I said, all right, well, let's see what we can do about that. For the record, full disclosure, I did do a little looking up. If you guys remember what a book called a dictionary is, I did that for the basics, but I'll give you as best a history as I can. So, the question is, where did the word Lent, in reference to the season, come from? I'm going to start the clock now. When I was growing up, I thought it was a reference to the French word lent, which means to slow down, like lentement, or to relent, which is an English word, which means to give up or to surrender, that sort of a thing. But not that at all, actually. Lent comes from a very obvious word. In the Old Middle English, it's always Old Middle English or Old English, but from those old words, we have a word, Lent, L-E-Y-N-T-E. So, and it basically, and there's an older word than that in the Old English, which is lengthen. And both of those words basically mean daylight or springtime. And it's the idea that during this time of the year, the daylight would get longer, springtime is here. So that's where that word comes from. But the origin of the word itself, if you go all the way back to like the Greek and the Latin, there's a Greek word for it, which basically is, and I'm going to try and read this as best I can because I couldn't memorize it, tessarakotsi, which is the Greek, and pardon my pronunciation, and for the Latin it's quadragesima. And both of those terms basically mean 40th, like 40. Which basically means how many days are in Lent. So the word Lent is supposed to connect to both the season of springtime and the rest of it, and also to the Latin and Greek words that mean 40. That's pretty much it. 128. I've done better. But anyway, I'm going to blame trying to pronounce those big long words for the reason why I went so long. But yeah, that's basically it. And for the record, those other terms that I said, lent, meaning French for slow, still has, as far as I'm concerned, it resonates well with me. It makes sense to me that if you're saying lentement in French, which means to slow down or to do something slowly, that made a lot of sense to me when it came to when I was growing up, when it meant what Lent was. I just figured it meant to slow down, to take time, to repent. And equally, I really thought that that whole idea of relent, not to do Lent a second time, but to surrender, made a lot of sense too. So you could take it for what you will. The word basically comes from springtime and daylight savings time, which is common. Wait for March. But that's basically what it is. So that's where the word Lent comes from for the season. So keep sending me your questions, guys. I'm really running dry with questions. I have one left. So tomorrow is my last one. So send me something. Any of you, all of you. And you know what? I'm even going to hold up my hand. Parents, if you want to send one, not just your kids, I suppose I can let you. Anyway, God bless everyone. Stay safe. Pray safe. I'll see you tomorrow.